We all know the tragic stories of the talented and amazing people that have died from drug abuse, alcohol misuse, and addiction in general, but what about the stories of survival and redemption? What about those people that go from the bottom to the very top? So much so that they actually can become a superhero. Well, stick around because today we talk about one sober celebrity specifically who went from inmate to Iron Man to now an Oscar winner, and it is an amazing story indeed.
Welcome to the Human Narrative Podcast, where we share stories that resonate amongst us all.
Hello, listeners, and welcome back to another episode of the Human Narrative. I am your host, Clark Webb, aka the Sober Webb, for my community who's listening here on YouTube. And today, I'm going to celebrate a sober celebrity who recently won an Oscar for his role in Oppenheimer. Now, his story is one of resilience and redemption. I find it very inspiring, and I did a video on YouTube about it, and people seemed to find it inspiring that knowing about famous people that were at the bottom, at rock bottoms, that struggled with addiction, that overcame their own struggles, regardless if it was addiction or anything. My YouTube community, they found it inspiring. So I also wanted to do a podcast because it's just a great story, and I want to share it with as many people as I possibly can. And this story is about someone, you might have already picked up on it, Iron Man, who got sober for good in 2004 and faced and healed his own demons, but he may never have become Iron Man, and now the Oscar winner for his role as Louis Strauss in Oppenheimer if it wasn't for sobriety and addiction recovery. And ultimately, I'm talking about the one and only Robert Downey Jr. I wish I was cool enough and a big enough podcaster name that he was actually on the show with me. Maybe someday that will happen because I would love to meet him. So Robert, if you hear this episode for some reason, I'm a huge fan, and I think that we could have an amazing conversation. So find a way to hit me up if you can find me. Anyway, for those of you that don't know who Robert Downey Jr. is, that's totally okay. Although I'd be a bit surprised because he has been the face of Marvel as the infamous Tony Stark, aka Iron Man. But, you know, fair enough if you're not into the Marvel series or the Avengers series in any way. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But maybe you know him from Guy Ritchie's 2009 Sherlock Holmes, or Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, or even, of course, his most recent Oscar win as Louis Strauss in Oppenheimer. All amazing movies. I highly recommend all of them. But no matter what, he is a phenomenal actor, and from what I hear, a phenomenal person. But what I find to be really phenomenal is that who he is and his career are all because of sobriety and overcoming addiction. So this episode goes out to anyone and everyone who is struggling with addiction in any form. I say this over and over, and this is really important for everyone to hear because it does not matter what your addiction is. It does not matter what the addiction is. I am not just talking about alcohol and drugs. We can all relate to something in Robert Downey Jr.'s story because we all have or have been, quote unquote, addicted to something that we use to cope and run away from reality, which can eventually get out of control. And maybe you feel like this speaks to you and you've got something in your life that's maybe ruining your life. Maybe it is literally ruining your life. Maybe you're at rock bottom. Maybe you're on your way down, or hopefully, honestly, I really hope that you're on your way up. No matter what, though, Downey's story is an inspiring one, and I hope it resonates with you and gives you hope. So, are you ready to find out how he went from inmate to Iron Man and then now to an Oscar award-winning actor? Well, his story goes like this. And for every good story, let's have some background music. In the glittering world of Hollywood, few stories are as captivating as that of Robert Downey Jr. With a talent that shines brighter than the Hollywood lights, Downey has graced the silver screen with his charisma, wit, and unparalleled acting prowess. Yet, there was a time before the Iron Man that we all know and love, where a darkness lurked behind the glitz and glamour that threatened to consume him and his career in whole, and that darkness was addiction. Born into a family of actors, Robert Downey Jr. seemed destined for stardom from the very beginning. His father, Robert Downey Sr., was an actor and a filmmaker, and his mother, Elsie Ann, was an actress in his father's movies. So it makes sense that at a young age of 5, Downey had his acting debut in his father's film Pound, and from there, well, it was off to the races for young Robert Downey Jr. In the 80s, he was part of the Brat Pack, and his early career saw him rise to prominence with roles in films like Weird Science, Less Than Zero, and Chaplin, Chaplin for which earned him a critical acclaim and accolades, and also his first Oscar nomination. But as his star began to ascend, so too did his struggles with addiction. He was introduced to drugs at a young age when his father, a confessed drug addict, let him smoke marijuana at 6 years old, which, as the story goes, his father later said he regretted. Empathetically, later on in his life, Downey Jr. stated that drug use was kind of like an emotional bond between him and his father, and he's quoted saying, "When my dad and I would do drugs together, it was like him trying to express his love for me in the only way that he knew how." But this early introduction to drugs and the pressures of fame, combined with the temptations of the entertainment industry, well, it seems that it proved to be a toxic cocktail for the young actor. Substance abuse became a constant companion and threatened to derail his promising career at every turn. So, throughout most of the 90s and into the early 2000s, the downward spiral for Robert Downey Jr. was swift and merciless. There were arrests, legal troubles, prison time, lots of stints in rehab that became regular headlines, all of them painting a grim picture of a once promising talent on the brink of self-destruction. And despite his undeniable talent, it seemed as though Downey's addiction would be his undoing, with studios and producers hesitant to work with him due to his reputation. And then, in 2001, the final pieces fell into place that would send him to his rock bottom. His wife at the time departed and took their son with her. He lost his role on the show Ally McBeal, and supposedly he found himself struggling with overwhelming debt and impending bankruptcy. But somehow at this time, he found the strength and resolve to confront his addiction, and he sought out recovery support, and he got sober for good. And slowly but surely, the tide began to turn. With the help of rehabilitation programs, therapy, and the support of a new wife, his friends, and family, Downey began to reclaim his life. And as the grip of addiction loosened its hold on him, Robert Downey Jr. experienced a career resurgence unlike any other. And primarily, it began with Mel Gibson, who had faith in him and gave him a chance with the 2003 film The Singing Detective, for which not only was the movie actually written for Mel Gibson, but Mel Gibson gave up that role and then actually bought the insurance bond so that Downey could do the movie. And in an award acceptance speech, Downey actually comments on this pivotal moment in his time. And he says, "When I couldn't get sober, he told me not to give up hope, and he urged me to find my faith. It didn't have to be his faith or anyone else's, as long as it was rooted in forgiveness." Downey continues to say, "And I couldn't get hired, so he cast me as the lead in a movie that was actually developed for him. He kept a roof over my head, and he kept the food on my table. And most importantly, he said, if I accepted responsibility for my wrongdoings, and if I embraced that part of my soul that was ugly, hugging the cactus, he calls it, he said that if I hugged the cactus long enough, I'd become a man of some humility and that my life would take on new meaning. And I did, and it worked. All he asked in return was that someday I help the next guy in some small way." After that, movies like Gothica and Kiss Kiss Bang Bang fueled Downey's resurgence and led to blockbuster hits like Iron Man, the entire Avenger series, movies like Sherlock Holmes, all these things that catapulted him back into the spotlight, earning him critical acclaim and adoration from fans around the world. He not only became a Hollywood star again, but he ultimately, I think for many people out there, he became a symbol of resilience and triumph in the face of adversity. And today, especially with this most recent Oscar win in March of 2024, Robert Downey Jr. really does stand as a testament to the power of redemption. His journey serves as a beacon of hope for anyone struggling with addiction, and a reminder that no matter how dark things may seem, or how dark our past may seem to us, there is always a path to recovery. Honestly, he continues to inspire others with his story of resilience and triumph, and he does prove, as cheesy it might sound, that sometimes the greatest Hollywood endings are the ones that unfold in real life. So, my friends, there is Robert Downey Jr.'s story in a nutshell. Some key takeaways that I hope that you hear in this is, one, never give up. Regardless of where you're at in life, regardless of your relationship with alcohol, drugs, whatever an addiction might be, whatever your struggles might be, it doesn't even have to be related to addictions. Never give up. Always keep trying to improve. Always keep trying to stay sober, to get sober, to stick with it so that you can give yourself the life that you deserve and that you want, because the only way none of that is going to happen is that you give up. That is the only reason we don't achieve the things that we want to achieve in our life, is because we give up. And ultimately, I think part of that is maybe we hold on to a past that we believe defines us. Maybe if it has to do with drug addiction or alcohol use or poor choices made during those times, we think that we cannot be forgiven for that past, for our choices in the throes of addiction, or just for the mistakes that we made. So we let ourselves suffer in the here and now, in this moment, because we think that we don't deserve the future that we want. But you've got to forgive yourself. You deserve forgiveness of whatever the past is. You can't change it, but you can learn from it, and you can change today, which can literally change your future and tomorrow. And in all of that, don't let others hold your past against you. Obviously, we can't control what people think or say, but we can control how their energy or their words impacts us, or what it makes us believe about ourselves. And you don't have to let other people define your past for you. All it takes is one person to give you a chance, honestly, to believe in yourself, just like Mel Gibson did it for Robert Downey Jr. Who is your Mel Gibson out in life? There is someone out there for you that believes in you, that knows that you deserve a second chance regardless of the past. So hold on to that idea that ultimately you are not defined by the past. You're not defined by people's thoughts about the past, and you're most definitely not defined by your own thoughts of yourself or of your past. The past only holds control over us if we allow it to do so. And the key in all of it is already what we talked about in this story, is that you've got to learn to hug the cactus. You have to learn to love and forgive the ugliest parts of yourself so that you can let the past go, so that you don't have to fear a life of torment or suffering or thinking that you deserve to suffer because of your past. You can hug the cactus. You can learn to love yourself. You can learn to forgive yourself so that you can, like I already said, change today in order to change your future. And there's a lot of soul work that comes with that. There's a lot of spiritual, emotional work that comes with that. You probably have to make amends to people in your past, but even if they don't forgive you, you can forgive yourself for that and move on. You have to make those changes to become a better human. You've got to walk away from your addictions once and for all, and for good. You can't let those demons and the trauma and the pain that fueled the addiction dictate your life anymore. And then always just try to do your best. Even on the worst of days, we can still try to do our best. If you are overcoming addiction, you can stay sober. Just stay sober one more day and keep going, and just keep doing that day after day after day. And I promise you, with all of this work, life will reward you. We can't assume we know what the future holds for us, but if we make good choices, if we try to change, if we try to become better people, and if we try to let the past be what it is, the past, we can have an amazing life, and we can be open to what life brings to us if we're willing to give ourselves a chance. So that's my story and my spiel for the day. I'm sticking with it. I love you all very, very much. I want nothing but the best for all of you, and I really appreciate that you're here listening. I appreciate your time. I appreciate your support. I appreciate that I can be part of your life. So thank you for being part of my community, whether it's having subscribed on the YouTube channel, The Sober Webb, or whether it's on Spotify or wherever you're hearing this podcast. Thank you for being part of this. And if you found it valuable, I really hope that you'll share it with one person, maybe someone that needs to hear this message, so that they too can forgive themselves of the past and make the changes necessary today to have the future and the life they want starting tomorrow. So until I talk to you again, much love and much life. I'm honored to bring you this episode from The Human Narrative, and I can't wait to bring you more episodes. So I'll talk to you really soon. Bye.
You've been listening to another episode from the Human Narrative Podcast. Don't forget to like and share, and we hope you consider subscribing.